Hello and welcome to Red Sports Talk. My name is Zach. We've officially made it through 9 weeks of the UFL season. In week 9, I went 3-1 with my predictions, giving me an overall record of 23-13 on the season. We've now made it to week 10, which is the final week of the UFL season. In week 9, 2 more playoff spots got clinched. So a couple weeks ago, Orlando clinched the first playoff spot. This past weekend, both St. Louis and DC clinched playoff spots. And really the final spot is up for grabs between the Birmingham Stallions and the Louisville Kings. They're the last two teams that are still vying for it, a spot in the playoffs. But let's get into some Week 10 action. Week 10 kicks off this Friday night, May 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox, as the Dallas Renegades, who are 3-6, take on the St. Louis Battlehawks, who are 6-3. Dallas coming off of a loss to the Louisville Kings. St. Louis coming off of a victory over the Houston Gamblers. For Dallas, really their season as a whole has not gone great for them. Past month and a half, they started off 3-0. Austin Reed looked like he was the front runner for UFL MVP. They've now lost 6 games in a row. For St. Louis, they clinched the playoffs last week against Houston. In that game, their offense did better than it did a couple weeks ago against Houston. However, Luis Perez in his second start still did turn the ball over. That's been a very common theme for St. Louis's offense. I think they've turned the ball over every single game, no matter who they've had at quarterback. They find ways they turn the ball over. However, their defense has been really good this year. They're one of the better defenses in the UFL. I believe they lead the UFL in sacks. Their defense has really stepped up, even though their offense has struggled for 9 weeks. And as for Dallas, in that loss to Louisville, Austin Reed hit Tyler Vaughns early in the game for a big, I think it was 36-yard touchdown pass. And then after that, he went, I think started 2 for 12 on pass completions for the game. Austin Reed has for the most part played very good this season. He's second in the UFL in passing yards. He leads the UFL in passing touchdowns, but he seems very hesitant at times to just take what the defense tries to give him a lot. He will either lock onto one target and not go through his progressions and just try to go with the first player in his read, first player that he's supposed to, or he'll have somebody open on a check down. I watched him do this multiple times against Louisville this past week, and he just won't take it. He will try for the long bomb, and it does not work out. This is a game that my pick for this game is St. Louis. I think the Battlehawks get the victory here. Again, I like how Austin Reed, for the most part, has played this season. He's put up a lot of yards, put up a lot of touchdowns. But Dallas's offense as a whole, especially in the run game, has struggled. Their defense has given up points. And I think St. Louis, their defense, should be able to get after Austin Reed, should be able to slow down this offense, should be able to take away his main read, the first person that he'll look for, and make him stand in the pocket longer than he wants to. And then offensively, although their offense has not been great, they have been good enough to get wins. I think Luis Perez, once again, will play good enough to get them the win in what is essentially a revenge game for him, as he played the past few years for the Renegades and started the season on their team as the backup to Austin Reed before being traded to St. Louis. But I think St. Louis gets the victory here and can build up some more momentum on their way to the playoffs. Your next game of the weekend is Saturday, May 30th at 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. The Houston Gamblers, who are 3-6, take on the Birmingham Stallions, who are 4-5. Houston coming off of their loss to St. Louis. Birmingham coming off of a loss to the Columbus Aviators. For Houston, their defense has played tremendous throughout the season. Their offense has very much struggled. They've gone through multiple quarterbacks. They haven't had much stability at the quarterback position. They've obviously started the season with Nolan Henderson, he got benched. They had Hunter Deckers week 2 actually against Birmingham, where he helped lead them to a victory, but he got injured, missed a few weeks. Went back to Nolan Henderson. They had Talua Tungavailoa for a couple weeks. They've also brought in John Rice Plumlee, who's got some playing time over the past couple weeks with Hunter Deckers. And Plumlee has looked good in short bursts, has played well in his limited playing time, though he did have a turnover against St. Louis that wound up being a big kind of momentum swinger for them in a close game. And Birmingham, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, as good as he looked his first 2 weeks as a starter, he has really gone downhill. His offense has really started to go downhill. He has had a few turnovers. He's got 6 interceptions so far. He's only been, I believe, started 4 games for them. So he's in 4 games thrown 6 interceptions. Their defense, though, is good at times, also is very inconsistent. They are last in the league in yards allowed this season. I think this game will quite possibly be very similar to the Birmingham-Columbus game from 2 weeks ago, where it was more of a defensive slugfest where neither offense could really do too much. And if it comes down to defense, my pick for this game is actually going to be the Houston Gamblers. I really like their defense. They have one of the better defenses in the league. Malik Fisher is, I believe, 3rd in the UFL in sacks. He could make a big difference getting after DTR with this very banged up, inconsistent Birmingham offensive line. I like the secondary in Houston to kind of slow down this very talented receiving core for Birmingham. And I also think a mixture of Hunter Deckers and John Rice Plumlee at the quarterback position will be enough to provide enough for the offense that they can put up some points. And I think that will be enough to outscore Birmingham and have their defense really be able to contain Birmingham's offense. I do think that Houston will get the victory over the Stallions. And with that loss, it will officially eliminate the Stallions from playoff contention. Moving on to Sunday, May 31st. You have 2 games. Your first one is at 12 p.m. Eastern on ABC as the Orlando Storm, who are 7-2, take on the DC Defenders, who are 5-4. Both these teams are coming off of playing each other. One of the many back-to-back teams playing each other back-to-back weeks the UFL has done this season. Orlando got the victory in that game. It was a game in which Jack Plummer looked tremendous. He had around 270 passing yards, a couple passing touchdowns. And defensively, Orlando played good against the pass. DC, Spencer Sanders struggled a little bit. He's throwing the ball, rushing. He led the team in rushing yards. So he's a very dynamic playmaker at the quarterback position. They are also Deion Jackson able to get the running game going. The running game has been tremendous, but their passing game has been very inconsistent. Their defense is a very good defense, but Orlando's offense is, I think, the best in the UFL right now. Orlando looks to be the best all-around team, the most well-rounded team right now in the UFL. And with how talented DC is, how good I think they could play, this is a tough pick. But my pick for this game is going to be the Orlando Storm. I just really like what they can do against Spencer Sanders. I really like what this offense can do with Jack Plummer and his playmakers. Also, Jaysean Corbin is a pretty good running back. He's top 5 in the league in rushing yards. He hasn't had tremendous rushing performances, but he has good enough to help them win games. And that's really what this offense needs, is have a very good quarterback in Jack Plummer with very good receivers and a running back that and a running game that can, just when they get ahead, can kind of run out the clock. So I do like Orlando to get the victory here over DC, and there is a possibility that these teams will meet again next week in the playoffs, as DC, coming off of a couple losses, but still managed to make the playoffs last week because of Columbus's victory over DC. Now, your final game of the week, your final game of the 2026 UFL regular season, takes place at 6 p.m. Eastern on Fox as the Louisville Kings, who are 5-4, take on the Columbus Aviators, who are 3-6. Louisville coming off of their win over the Dallas Renegades, Columbus coming off of their win over the Birmingham Stallions, in which quarterback Jalen Morton got his first career start. He looked very dynamic. He did okay passing wise. He had a touchdown. He had an interception. But rushing the ball, he ran very well. He led the team in rushing yards. He, whenever he sensed pressure, was able to escape the pocket and extend drives, which really helped out their offense. And his dynamic playmaking really much helped get them the lead late in the game, tie the game late, and allow their defense to get the game-winning pick six. And for the Louisville Kings, Chandler Rogers continues to play well. Their rushing attack of Ian Wheeler and James Robinson continue to be a very good duo at running back. Funny, James Robinson is like sixth in the UFL in rushing yards right now, and he's only played 6 games. He's very talented. Maybe if they had, kept him on the roster to start the season for the first couple of games instead of trying out Benny Snell, maybe they wouldn't have gotten off to such a slow start. But their running games play good. Their defense plays very good. They're very good at getting turnovers. Very good at pressuring quarterbacks. So my pick for this game is going to be the Louisville Kings. I just really like what they have done, especially the past month of the season. They've been building a lot of momentum with Chandler Rogers as their quarterback. Now, I think this could be a very good game as Jalen Morton, has shown dynamic playmaking, but I think having, game film on him, as Birmingham didn't really have game film on Morton going into their game, Louisville will have an idea of what he's going to do. I think they will, do their best to contain him and slow him down, especially as a runner, make him try to beat them with his arm. I don't know if he can do. And then offensively, I think with Ian Wheeler and James Robinson, the run game should play very good against this Columbus defense. I think Chandler Rogers can play well like he has the past month of the season, where he's been their starter and really really be able to lead this offense as he's done and put points on the board. So I do think that the Louisville Kings will get the victory over the Columbus Aviators and help them build momentum, as I believe they will be the final team to clinch a playoff spot. I think they're a team that could be dangerous in the playoffs because they have a bunch of momentum. They've fixed some of the deficiencies they had in their team at the beginning of the season, and they are just on an absolute hot streak right now. And sometimes, especially in football, where you get into the playoffs and it's one game to advance, there's a lot of times that momentum can really carry teams, and Louisville is a team that maybe their momentum can carry them through the playoffs. But those are my picks for the final week of the 2026 UFL regular season. Let me know in the comments who you guys think are going to win this week, how you've liked the season. I think this has been the most competitive season they've had so far. I know, as somebody that made picks every single week, I had a lot of weeks where I was 2-2, maybe 3-1, because these are all very talented teams. And, if stuff had gone different for, these teams that aren't going to be in the playoffs, stuff had gone a little different, earlier in the season, if they had had more stability at positions on their team, if they had, a few more lucky calls go their way, I think any team could have made the playoffs, and any team could have made it interesting in the playoffs. But let me know how you guys likes the season. Maybe let me know who you guys think, could win the championship. But thank you guys so much for watching. I've very much enjoyed giving my predictions every single week. To try to continue to give my predictions through the UFL championship. So, till next time.